There it is.
Okay, we're live. Sorry for those technical difficulties, but we are live now, so we will go ahead and call our meeting to order. My watch says 6:02, so welcome everybody to Uintah City Council for September 1st at 6 p.m., 6:03. We need to excuse Dan, he had other obligations, and then we'll go ahead and get going. Michelle, let's get our pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Michelle. Next on our agenda is the conflict of interest. If there is anybody here that has a conflict with any of our agenda items, now would be the time to make that known.
I have a conflict. I am currently employed by Connect Fiber Internet, and they are on the agenda for discussion around franchise agreement. So
Okay.
just want to make that known.
Do you feel like you can still contribute to the conversation?
I do,
No.
yes.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, I as well. All right, thanks. Next, I'll take us down to the public comment. If there's anybody in the gallery who would like to make a public comment, please step to the podium and address us. And if there's anybody online who would like to make a comment, go ahead and put that in the chat box and I will circle back to seeing if there's any comments online. I'm seeing some head shakes as no. And I don't see anything online. If somebody's typing and just hasn't gotten it in there fast enough yet, I'll look back in a second. Okay, that will take us down to the consent agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes and the invoice reports for July?
Yes.
This is really just me being very particular, but on the minutes on the top, it just doesn't have the names.
Oh, okay, I can fix that.
Yeah, that's an easy fix.
Sorry, I
should have
I don't
emailed it
know.
to you, I'm sorry.
don't know why they're not there.
Just the council members of who was present, it's just missing on the minutes, that was all.
Okay,
Thanks.
good catch. Any other comments about any of the consent agenda items? If not, I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, which would be the city minutes for August 4th with that little bitty change. And then the approval of the invoices and financial reports.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? No. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. And we need a roll call? Sorry. Can we do that? Yeah, good one. Roll call.
Teague Sorensen, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, thank you guys. Next is our public hearing, which we do not have tonight, so we'll just keep moving along. Old business, nothing to address tonight. And that takes us down to our new business, which is the discussion, consideration, and possible action on resolution 26-0901, which is the city council establishing a non-refundable application fee for telecommunication franchise applications for Uintah City. And I'll turn the time over to Michelle for that one.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Basically, this is just establishing an application fee. So if anybody would like to enter into a franchise agreement with Uintah City, they would have to pay a one-time fee. We have established that amount of $150. That is something that if you wish for it to be something different, we could change, but that is what the amount is in this resolution.
I think that was fair. Why did we come up with 150? Let's just start there.
That would just cover time, the effort for review,
charges.
yeah,
What it
for
costs us to.
to review and look at everything and get that set up. So, yeah.
I think that's fair.
And is it a one-time fee? Like would the application that cost cover the entire project within the city? Or do they have to do multiple application?
They would do one application, yes.
Okay.
So it'll be one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussions on that one? Seems pretty.
But if they like, say like in a year, they decided to do something different, would that be any of the same? Or they would have to apply?
Once you enter into a franchise agreement, you're good.
Okay.
It's a 1 in 10, so.
Okay.
And I can add to that. There is a section in the resolution, it's called other costs reserved. So this covers the application, but it also allows for charging other fees like for excavation if there's a permit needed there. So it contemplates that in the future, there might be other fees that occur that it's fine to charge for. So but for the application itself, just this one fee.
Perfect. And like you would say that like, I know that Connects has asked to have a franchise agreement, but this is for anybody that would want a
Correct.
franchise agreement for Uintah City, right? And that would cover whatever kind of franchise agreement for that. And then with that little section in there,
This
I
carve
think
out,
it's
yes.
different.
Yep.
Okay, so it would protect us for any kind of franchise.
Yes.
And Lauren, it also, I mean, I don't know that I reviewed the very final iteration of it, but reviewing the beginning parts of it, it did leave room for the city council to determine, if the agreement or if the relationship is still favorable, if the franchisee is living up to their commitments on their side, then Uintah can cancel that agreement with them going forward, right?
That would be on the franchise agreement. Brian has reviewed the franchise agreement, but this is just the resolution establishing
Okay,
the fee
okay,
to apply.
okay,
Yes, so that's a different agreement. Yeah.
okay.
Great discussion.
Thanks.
Make a motion? Go for it.
If you would like, Mayor?
Yeah, please.
So I make a motion that we approve the resolution, the City Council of Uintah establishing a non-refundable application fee for telecommunications franchise. Yes, not just any franchise. Applications pursuant to Uintah City Code Section 7-2-4A1.
I'll second the motion.
Great, thanks. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you, guys. And the next on the list is the bond amount for franchise agreements. I'll turn this one over to Michelle.
Okay. Mayor and city council members, our attorney has recommended that we include 2 different bond amounts in the franchise agreement with Connects, because they protect the city at 2 different points in the process of the agreement. The first is an installation bond or an excavation permit, which protects us during the construction. The bond is already contemplated under our excavation code, and the city engineer can adjust that if need be, but it is currently, it's $2,000. And it's based on the scope of the work. The second is a franchise bond, which would protect the city if the franchise ends and the company doesn't remove its equipment for whatever reason. So the second bond is not required by our code, but it was included in the draft agreement with Connects. So the other thing that Brian went on to say was that the bond amounts don't have to be identical for every company, but we do need a consistent standard for determining that amount. So if the company installs significant less infrastructure, their removal and repair costs would be lower, so the bond could be lower as well. We do have the ability to waive that bond, but we would just need to specifically state that in the franchise agreement. So kind of what I'm looking for tonight is some direction on whether we want to include the installation bond, and then, not the installation bond, the second bond.
The excavation.
No.
The excavation is what we have. The second one is the franchise bond. Sorry about that. And what we want that to look like, if we want to put in the agreement that we can waive that fee if we desire, or if we anticipate an amount, or both. Do you have anything to add to that?
I think would be with the installation bond, where the code does require that 2,000. It does say the engineer has the ability to do that, so I would just recommend getting a recommendation from the engineer on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just for the record, Councilor Comby has, you're excused, you could have just had a night off, but thank you for coming and joining us.
So, just so I understand, are we just discussing this tonight?
Yes.
No votes or nothing? And we're just discussing whether we have, so clearly we already have the excavation bond that already is existing in our ordinance.
Correct.
And now we just need to decide if we want the second one, because the lawyer has recommended that we have the second.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the first one for the excavation is 2,000.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
One thing that Michelle also mentioned to me was that the excavation bond is one that has been put in place and been in place for a long time. So that one's established and then of course with any recommendations on the engineering side. So I think that's pretty natural and fits what the city has done for a long time. But yeah, facing the new question of how much to charge for a bond, I think that important things to consider are the size of the city. Obviously, a bigger city would charge a bigger bond, but it also has more construction, more infrastructure going in. And some cities, like Willard City, does not include a bond in their or for their franchise agreement. I don't know their motivations or reasoning for that, but that is an option. I think that we should have a bond in place of some sort with this franchise agreement with Next.
Or with anyone.
Yeah, I think we should do it with every franchise agreement, yes.
I agree. I think that there should be a bond just because it protects the city from having to clean up mess.
Sure.
Lauren, would you say that $2,000 is still, like, everything's gone up in the world, right? So that bond for excavation, is that still relevant?
So,
In
I mean,
2026?
and that's where I would ask the engineer, right, get their opinion, because under the code, you can raise or lower that amount. So, once they take a look and see, exactly how many boxes are gonna be placed. I don't know the answer to that question, but you could definitely get a better number, just in talking to them.
So if we showed the engineer, let's say this franchise agreement for Connects, and they were like, well, I would say you should have like a $3,500 bond.
Yeah.
The ordinance allows us
You could
to
raise
go
it
back
to
and change
35.
that, and it's per franchise agreement.
Yes, so, each one you look at individually, depending on, what they're coming in to do.
Okay.
Yep.
And what would your recommendation be on, there was discussion about waiving, what would the recommendation from legal be for waiving?
I think there's a
from one or
risk,
the
there's
other?
obviously a high risk if you waive a bond, because that money comes out of the city's pocket in the end if something isn't finished, or something isn't safe, right, then the city has to pay to fix it. Whereas if you have the bond in place, you have access to those funds and you can use those funds to pay for it.
I'm a fan of kind of trying to keep everything the same for everybody, right? Like, so when we've talked about waiving it, that always makes me a little bit nervous because I feel like you can't waive for one if you have for the other unless you have a really strong reason, I understand the change in the fee because depending on what the work is, right? But I think we're gonna charge it to one, we probably should have it for everyone.
Good points, anything else?
Well, I agree, I think we should charge a bond. The amount I'm perplexed on, just because I don't want it to be so exorbitant that they don't do the project, because having more utilities for our residents, I think is a priority of this council. Especially internet, just because I feel we're fish in a barrel at the moment as a community.
Right. So as far as tonight, do we need to agree on a dollar amount, or just that we want to have a bond amount?
You can go ahead and make a motion to have an amount, right?
Yeah, you could set an amount, you don't have to set an amount, it could just be discussion and talk about it later. So,
Does the amount have to be set by all of us in the council meeting, or can that be done like?
You could do outside because this will go in the agreement,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So when you approve the agreement will have these amounts in it.
So
So eventually
moving,
that will come back to council, if that makes sense.
so moving forward, we could ask the engineer that,
Yes.
like, the Connect says, hey, this is what our project is. The engineer says, I would do this.
Yep.
The franchise agreement is then written up, then it comes back to council and we say yay or nay.
Yes, on
Is that
the
right?
agreement.
But even on the engineer side, that would probably, it would probably still come into effect after, because typically a utility company is not gonna make any plans unless they have the agreement. So it would be like, this is the baseline fee based off of for like,
It's $2,000, but if,
unless there's a need for an increase, and then, yeah, they would enter with that understanding. And then if the city saw a need for an increase, then that would be the next decision point, right? The franchisee would decide, okay, yes, it's still worth paying that extra fee that was determined by the engineer, or no, actually, we want to cancel it this time. So I don't think that we would have to finalize that before the franchise agreement, just because there is still room for the engineer to determine how much it actually needs to be.
Because they will not apply for an excavation permit until they're coming in ready to
Yes.
dig. So it's at that point that it would be looked at and decided upon.
But the
And-
other bond, we would want to determine that
Yes.
now before the franchise.
And as to the franchise bond, is that what you're speaking to? So yes, because with that one, there's no city code that requires a franchise bond. So that one in the agreement, it's been written into the agreement that there will be a franchise bond. But if that's something that we don't want to entertain, then it would need to be removed before approval. Just that provision that requires one.
Okay, so could we go ahead and just move forward with the franchise agreements and have that language in there that there will be a bond? And then,
For the, yes,
so the franchise agreement portion, and then when it comes back to city council, we can approve the
the agreement.
agreement and the amount at that point.
Mhm.
Is everybody comfortable with that?
Sounds great.
does that keep us moving forward? 'Cause I know we take government, and it takes us 17 years to get anything passed, but, does this keep us moving in a timely manner?
It sounds like, I mean, the goal in a upcoming, as soon as the next city council or one after, shortly after that would be that we'd have a franchise agreement ready to be voted on, right? So, yeah, I think that's keeps us moving forward, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, if everyone feels good with that, we'll move on. And that takes us down to our informational items. Is there anything from planning commission? I mean, we've had a few updates in our planning commission, we've had some change. Commissioner Glenn Williams, he had to step down for health reasons, and we wish him the best and understand his reasonings to step down. Andrew Flegel has accepted the invitation to take his position, and that leaves us a spot for a couple alternates. Glenn did say he was gonna move down to the alternate position, so we'll keep him there. And then we'll look for 2 new alternates, which we've had the applications out, so if you know anybody, though, send them in. We'll get them on the application process. All right, any council reports? Anything that somebody wants to report on today?
We had a resident donate a light to the shed for the cemetery to light it up a little bit for early morning walkers. Jack, Tim, and I will be getting that installed in the coming days. That's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate the citizen donation to making areas safer. That's nice of them. Anything else?
We have a railroad meeting coming up, trying to figure out what's happening with our weed abatement, let's call it that. And hopefully I'll have some more answers, but at least they are answer our questions and find out. I know they've been doing some work and it doesn't look real pretty, but it is on our minds and we're going to figure that out. So updates to come. And then there has been a few concerns about flock cameras, and we've also addressed that with the sheriff's office, and they're looking into what they're going to do and provide us with a statement, and we'll be able to get that out to the community as well. So I know those two things have been on people's minds, and so we're working on it. I have no answers yet, but we'll figure something out.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Had a great race again for the half marathon that went through Uintah City for the Bonneville Communities That Care. And I think that went well, thanks to any residents or anybody that supported that. And I think it's a great cause, that drug prevention and awareness. And then just a thank you to all of the many fire districts that assisted with our fire. I haven't been to a city council since we had the fire, but yeah, it was good to have so many resources available to help and to save so many people's property and to keep things under control as well as we could.
Thank you. I agree with everything you said, and I'll pass on your sentiments to the fire board, let them know. Okay, well, that's everything. Any gotchas? No, I'll accept one more motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in adjournment. Thank you, everybody.
So,